Hello. Welcome to Head to Heads. Show's not sponsored. I didn't curse at the beginning, so we can monetize it, which is nice. Today's episode is on Seoul Dynasty. We're talking about today, is there or was there melee performance of fluke? They kind of run it all the way to the end, where during the regular season at the start, they looked so up and down. What do you have to say for yourself today?
I I'm so I feel bad about myself, Matt, but I do believe in the Seoul Dynasty. I feel bad for saying it because I know that it can come and just bite me at any time because this team has been wildly inconsistent. But there's so many good things that I noticed in the main melee that hadn't been there before that didn't seem like, I don't know, individuals overperforming. They just seem to figure some stuff out. And if you remember how to play certain styles, if you get yourself out of a slump, then I don't really see them going straight back into that slump again in June.
I can't believe in this team. I just can't. Like, I mean, they could open up this next week, lose to anybody, and nobody would be shocked. And then they could come around and then beat anybody, and nobody would be shocked. I just think that their melee performance was really nice. And it seems like these guys turn up like in winning situations, which we talked about before.
Yeah.
But over the course of like a regular season, I just don't know if I buy it. Like, I've seen too much from the London core and this kind of like wishy-washy back and forth and whatnot to know that this is consistent play. That this is not something that's going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I think for me, we could be having a totally different discussion here, Matt, because Seoul Dynasty reasonably could have won the May Melee. It's almost more surprising that they didn't, having gone up 3-0 in the series. They had many opportunities, and it took a gargantuan effort from the Shanghai Dragons to come back. Now, would I say that the Seoul Dynasty are the best team in Asia? No. But I think that they came out with a strategy and made Profit's Tracer work really well, and they were, for whatever reason, the Shanghai Dragons were running Stand 1, which is not as optimal a roster for them. But the Seoul Dynasty genuinely could have won the May Melee. And I think had that happened, had one map gone the other way, we would have been talking about Seoul Dynasty being big game players. Like the whole
would the story have been that
it.
Seoul Dynasty was like that good, or the Shanghai Dragons pooped the bed?
Yeah, maybe there would have been a bit of talk about the Shanghai Dragons not playing so well.
The Shanghai Dragons pooping the bed.
I disagree, though. I think it would have been that the Seoul Dynasty players play up to the kind of...
True.
What's the word? They play up to the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Up to the opponents, up to the scenario.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the scenario. It's how much stake is on the line. They're the London players that only peak in the playoffs. They're the players that go into those big game matches with a bit more to lose. They feel like this is their time to really prove themselves. They don't care as much about the regular season.
They're more amped up, yeah.
That's at least what it seems from the outside, that these London Spitfire players in particular, the former London Spitfire champions, do seem to play like that. I think that the Seoul Dynasty... I think that that's reducing the argument a little bit too much, though, because I think that Seoul genuinely did have some really awful problems with executing on dive comps and rush comps previously. But I think that they made some decent improvements. And when you watch them play in their semifinals match where they played against the Guangzhou Charge, they looked... who else? Who was it, the Guangzhou Charge that they were playing against? I think it was, actually.
They played, Hangzhou, right? And then they played Guangzhou? No.
Oh, your internet's breaking up a little bit, but it normally fixes itself in a sec.
It usually fixes itself rather quickly.
Yes, they played against the Guangzhou Charge, and that was their 3-2 win where they played like quite a bit of rush in some of those maps as well, which is normally something that they just totally sucked at. So I feel like I think that the Seoul Dynasty have made like Jonathan was talking about this on Plat chat recently, and he said that there's two ways of improving players. You either coach them to be better, smarter players, which I think is something that you can point out all across the league, or you kind of get them out of a slump. You build their confidence back up. You make players play better as a team, and you make them have confidence in their own play.
Right.
And I think that that's something that Seoul showcased throughout the main melee, was that they had been in a dreadful slump but those players aren't bad. And if
No.
you get them out of that slump, they're gonna be able to perform at a reasonable level.
But are they at a point? So I think we can both agree, like, they have the potential. They're a bit inconsistent. Like, now that New York has Hacksaw, Architect on Hangzhou, you have Guangzhou, who's played quite well at the beginning of the season. Like, I feel like there's just more ammo now in the Asian region. Like, the only two layup games for them are going to be London and Chengdu. Everything else is going to be really tough.
Yeah,
and I think any inconsistency is gonna be brutal.
You look at their matches that they've got in the June tournament. They play against New York, which is a winnable and a losable game. I mean, New York did not look very good in the main melee. They were playing really weird compositions, but that's a team, especially with the addition of Haxal, that could certainly bounce back.
And Nene coming back.
Yes, and Nene back as well. Yeah, so that's a winnable or losable game. Even if the Seoul Dynasty actually play well, that's still losable.
Yeah,
because they're that good a team. The Seoul Dynasty play against the Guangzhou Charge. Again, even if they play at their peak, they could lose to the Guangzhou Charge because, like we saw in the main melee, they were playing incredibly well and they still only beat Guangzhou 3-2. So that's still a close game. And then they play Shanghai. So Seoul have got a really... They finished with the Chengdu Hunters as their fourth game in the June tournament qualifiers.
Why didn't you bring that one up?
Because the other three, I think, are more important. They could...
No.
Seoul
Dynasty more important than Chengdu.
Seoul Dynasty could be playing at the same level that we saw in the main melee, but still go 0-3.
And get like 5th, yeah.
It would be unlikely for you to lose all 3 games while still playing at that really top level, but it's possible because the level of competition is really good.
But what do you think, though? Like, I view this team, though, like their mental as, like, if they lose a few games and they start to see other teams in the region potentially surpassing them, that their mental is going to just crack. We've seen that in the past from some of these guys.
I don't really know. I think that the structure this year, though, the way that it's been changed to a tournament structure, really benefits the Seoul Dynasty.
And honestly,
players.
Maybe being back in Korea helps them a ton as well.
Yeah, it could do. I mean,
back home.
It didn't when they moved over there and then just started getting rolled as soon as they started playing Echo. I mean,
maybe that was the downside, right? You know, the bars, the clubs open up.
Gesture opens a flower shop.
Gesture opens a flower shop. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to ask
Sure.
him. But they were getting properly rolled. Like I just want to point that out again as well, that they were getting record times set against them.
It wasn't like they were just casually losing.
Nope, they were 3-0ing up their opponents, and then they were getting 3-0'd and setting league-wide records, as in the fastest games that had ever been happening throughout all 3 of the seasons were against the Seoul Dynasty. And then they go on to make the finals here. So they have been wildly inconsistent. But this tournament, or at least the first 2 weeks, Echo is banned. That helps the Seoul Dynasty massively. Diva is banned. That helps the Seoul Dynasty enormously. So I think that with Dive being nerfed and also Echo being nerfed, Seoul are in a great position to, even if they forgot again how to play Dive and Rush, they're still in a pretty good position of being able to repeat their performance and try and push for a good seed into the June tournament.
I just cannot believe that this team, like, by the end, we're going to be talking about them as the best team or the second best team in the region. I just can't see it. Like, for me, they just have too many inconsistencies and holes. Like, when was the last time, in season 1 or 2, like, I'm trying to think of, like New York in season 2, not the best team in the league, but like top 3, top 4, right? Who the fuck set a record time against them?
Yeah, no one. No one, absolutely
nobody,
no one.
Right? Like, usually teams that are that good don't have that big of lows.
Even people also bring up the original 2018 London Spitfire. London Spitfire in 2018 did not have people setting record times against them.
No!
Like, I don't know what people
worst.
are smoking. At their worst, they were still putting up okay performances.
At their worst, they were a game away from the 3-team playoffs.
Yeah, they were like, okay, they might have been getting 3-0'd at times by other top teams, but they weren't getting 3-0'd by middling teams and setting records against them.
Over and dying to the Chengdu Hunters, like.
But that to me indicates a mental thing, or like a grasp of the meta. It's not to do with the caliber of players. We know that the Seoul Dynasty players can play with the best in the world, could be the best in the world at times. Like Prophet and Fitz, that's a DPS duo that you're looking at as potentially best in the world if they actually perform. But so I have confidence that this is a fixable problem, because
it's not a player issue.
It's not a player issue. It's not a player issue. It's not what also gives me confidence, Matt, is that it's not like they play double shield really well one week and double shield really shittily the next week. It seems to have a meta component to it as well. And so that means that if you are able to give the players a better understanding or a better confidence in certain metas and certain meta matchups, that you can start to fix this.
It's just not as safe as some of the other teams who have been able to pick up multiple different metas and be successful. Like, I think with the way that they're going about the game and the hero pools now, where it's like 2 weeks and then 2 weeks of no hero pools, etc. I mean, I assume there's going to be more sweeping balance changes that come along with that. We already see bigger changes that go in the experimental card that you'll go into the experimental card for like, I don't know, 4 minutes and then go straight to live. I mean, every time I look for the experimental cards, they're never up. And then I'm like, oh, where to go? Oh, it's just they put it into the live game already. I'm like, what? Like,
yeah. I played some games yesterday and I just assumed that the Genji changes were live. I just assumed they'd push them straight live.
Yeah, I just always assume they're live. So with all of that stuff changing constantly, I view that it'll still be difficult for them to keep up. And I think they're just like a mental kind of collapse away, and not like a collapse, but let's say for argument's sake, the first week of a open hero pool, they just get rolled, and then they start to scrim and they can't figure it out, and they go into that playoff. Like, you still think they're gonna go to the final? Like, I mean, what, didn't they have a close game to even get into the final? Wasn't it a 3-2?
Yeah, it was a 3-2 against the Guangzhou Charge. Yes.
Yeah. So like we're on the flip side of the conversation of their one map away from 4-0ing. We could also be talking about they're in a position where they get like what, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, 6th, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, 3rd, 4th. Yeah, they would have been knocked out in semis.
Where then we're like, normal Seoul Dynasty stuff. Where I'm not on the Guangzhou Charge salary, so I don't think they're that. They're all that.
They're like pretty good. Other people. They're pretty good, especially when Nero was playing, and most people weren't expecting Nero to be.
It's just ridiculous that we had the only video we've had to delay is the Guangzhou one, because Josh is insisting that we have video assets and all of these other things for the Guangzhou one. We need special sponsor requirements.
I'm gonna build a little shrine to Nero behind me as well.
A little Guangzhou shrine.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this. From what you're saying, this might be a hot take, but I think the Seoul Dynasty should be considered the second best team in Asia right now.
I don't think it's a hot take, because there's a billion, anime picture fanboys who are going to side with you.
Right.
I think it's not a hot take.
But who do you think is the second best team then? If you think Shanghai's the best and you don't think it's Seoul Dynasty, who would you put money on as being like the second most favorite to take the June tournament?
My gut says either Guangzhou or New York.
Oh boy, oh boy.
And I think a little bit of it is like potentially, or I don't think. I mean, this may be odd.
Bro, you have just become a robot. You were trying to give your reasoning, and your internet just knew that you couldn't give effective reasoning.
Chelsea's got 1,800 tabs open.
You've gone pixelated, and you're just molding about the Guangzhou Charge, as far as I can tell.
Pixelated?
Yeah, I mean, you actually look a bit better with the lower resolution on your cam.
No, that's not true.
It is true. Like this video if you prefer Matt all pixelated like that, so that you can't see his face properly.
That's not fair.
He's just lagging out poorly. Go on, Matt. Give me your reasoning for why New York or Guangzhou.
I'll give you my reason.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Well, I think Guangzhou is a good team.
Okay.
Outside of all them, but I believe we could have been valuing Hackstall a bit.
The only word I got there was Haxel. But yeah.
Oh, am I back?
Oh, you are back. Yeah, you are.
It's my Discord. My internet's fine. It's my Discord that just keeps going up and down.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Yeah.
All I caught there was Guangzhou's a good team and
so
Haxel.
I think Guangzhou's a good team. And then I also think we may be forgetting a bit about how good Haxel is as an individual player and how big of a difference maker that Haxel plus Mono plus Jonak. Like, this team's never had a damage dealer at the level of Haxel. So I think he has the opportunity to really make that team dominant again.
Okay, I like it. You're taking a punt on a team that has literally never played before, and I'm taking a punt on a team that's proven to be wildly inconsistent.
What do you mean they've never played before?
New York have never played with. They've never played with Haxel. They've never played that roster before.
You said they've never played. They've played.
That roster has never played before, and you're just assuming that they're going to be top 2.
How do you know? I see them playing ranked all the time, and they're good.
Yeah, ranked is the true test of skill.
We all know that ranked is the true test of skill here on Plat Chat. That's why we named ourselves after the majority of you. The shitty Overwatch players that we're forced to play with that keep our ranks down.
Yep.
But let us know what you think. Do you think I should keep lagging in some of these? Or do you think I should stay normal? No, I'm kidding. Do you think Seoul Dynasty is legit, that their main melee performance is what we're going to see the rest of the season? Or do you side with me where there's just too many red flags there to trust it? Stay tuned. More head-to-heads coming soon.